Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to my Suburban Oasis. I don't know if you can tell, but there's some thunder in the background today. So I'm going to try to make this video and hope it doesn't pour on me. I have a great update to share with you today about this potager garden. Take a look. Notice anything different? All the wood chips are gone. Isn't it pretty? Alright, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you'd like some more videos like this one. I enjoy talking about gardening and having people in the community talk about gardening with me. So this, I kind of designed it like a sun. If you can tell here, there's a main area that kind of fans out as bricks with rays of the sun between the garden beds. And I did this in about 4 hours, maybe 5 hours. And I did it with used bricks that I got off Facebook Marketplace for $175. You guys, who gets a patio for $175? This girl. Check it out. Aren't those gorgeous bricks? So many different kinds. Some of them rougher, some of them smoother, some of them dark, some of them light. Reminds me a lot of a English garden. And I just laid them on top of the mulch. And what I'm going to do is get some of the sand that helps to create a barrier in between the bricks to prevent weeds from coming up in between them. And then if I decide later I don't like them and I want to take them out, like I sometimes do, our minds change about the design that we want in our yards and in our gardens, I can just take them out. They won't be stuck in concrete. They won't be a semi-permanent fixture. And I can move them around the way that I want. If I decide I want a herringbone pattern instead of a straight line, I can do that. So that's one of the techniques that I really like to use in my garden is planting things and preparing hardscape or structural elements in a way that I can move them and do different things in my design so things don't stay stagnant. How boring is it when things look exactly the same all the time, every single year? Or your yard looks just like your neighbor's yard. Things are looking pretty good in the garden too. We just started to get a little cooler weather in the low 80s and the high 70s. And so that has really made things start to green up again, which makes me happy. The smoke bush, the purple smoke bush that I have here is doing very well. I have a second one in between the tomatoes back here. It's a little bit harder to see because it's smaller. It gets shaded out by the giant tomato and squash plants that I had. That I have. They're still there. They're getting towards the end of their life cycle though. I do have a few more squashes that are growing and a few more tomatoes that I think will ripen before it ultimately cools off to the point where they don't really want to grow for me anymore. Yeah, so I think this is just a really lovely transition area. I planted one of the clearance hydrangeas that I got over here. This one is a berry white. It gets to be about 5 feet wide, and 5 to 7 feet wide and 6 to 8 feet tall, I believe. So it should come up nicely here and help provide a little bit of shade from the late afternoon sun if you are grilling. Not this year, of course, but next year it will get to be much taller. It's a paniculata, panicle hydrangea, and its blooms will start out white and turn a lovely pink. So that should be great. some of the lilies that I rescued from an area that I'm cleaning bishop's weed out of have started to come back. They were totally parched and unhappy at first, but they bloom. I believe these are the creamy white ones that also have a really nice scent to them. And then some of this leafy Virginia right here, aka pig squeak, because it's squeaky. If you touch it, it kind of lines the edge here, looking a little bit like lettuce, but it is not. Then a couple of lovely vine barks here, which I think they go so great with some of these darker colored bricks that you see along in here. I just love the way it brings out the different colors in the bricks. Yeah, so there's my other purple smoke tree, much smaller. I did seed some kale down in here. You can see some little seedlings coming up through the compost amongst the strawberry plant there. So I'm looking forward to having some of those. I do think the ones that I planted in cell packs are doing better than the ones that I sowed directly into the ground, but I guess over time we'll tell. I seem to have that same experience with the foxgloves. So these little seedlings right here are foxgloves that I did plant in small seed trays, but I transplanted these quite early on in the process. And then I transplanted some of them from the cell packs much later. And those are actually doing better. So I think having stayed in the pot with the better soil that has food in it, some fertilizer, really helped give them a better start. And these are penstemon. These are the ones that I bought on sale. I cut them back and I planted them here in place of potato plants that I had. I dug up my red potatoes and we ate them. Mashed them up with some garlic and butter and some fresh parsley and fresh chives and some sour cream. Oh, they were delicious. Anyways, I'm hoping these come back up next year. These are not necessarily hardy in zone 5. I'm in a zone 5B, so I'm kind of pushing it. But I was hoping to get another bloom out of them before the end of the summer. My white powwow echinaceas in this bed are doing quite well. Those were a good sale also. And then I picked up an asparagus plant. I don't know how old this one is. I got it at a local nursery, so I'm hoping it's gonna save me a little bit of growing time, because I haven't had any asparagus in this garden, but we do eat it as a family, and I really wanted to plant some more vegetables that we actually use, and the fact that it is a perennial is an added bonus to me. We also have some I think it's called Northern Lights Rainbow Chard, which is super pretty. I planted it for its color as well as the fact that it's pretty delicious. I just couldn't resist it. It was at the nursery. I think I bought it for $5, and it looks a little wilty right now, but that's because every day it gets wilty when it's super sunny out, and then it perks back up towards the end of the day. And just before it started raining, it was wilty, so it'll perk back up probably in a couple hours. So I also want to show you all of these carrots. All of that lacy foliage is carrots, which look so pretty, just beautiful. They're growing quite well. I'll be interested to see how deep the carrots go or how long they get this year. In past years, I've had some stunted growth because of my soil being fairly hard once you get down about 4 inches. So they're kind of stubby, but we'll see. Under this plastic gridding to protect it from the rabbits, I have some cilantro and some more carrots and some more of those lilies that I rescued from the area that I had to use weed killer on. I'm starting to make a little bit of a transition to fall. Today is September 1st. So I have some Sunseeker salmon coneflower, which has very large flower heads on it in the back here, along with 2 orange garden mums. So those are just annuals. But the coneflower obviously is a perennial, and I will plant that out in the yard after it's done putting on a show in the pot for me first. And then we're going to come over here and I'm going to show you one other pot that I just did in preparation for changeover for fall. This one right here, I pulled some of the coleus out of the garden, and then I have 3 garden mums that are orange as well. So kind of pulling that color in through along with the pink, which is still a nice bright color for summer, but it also just kind of has that October vibe of orange that we all start looking for in pumpkins and things like that. All right, well, oh, I'm going to show you one more thing before I go. This, my poor Cercis canadensis redbud. Oh my gosh, you guys had to bring this back here in the backyard because look at it. Oh, the deer. They just nibbled all of the leaves on here. It was looking so beautiful, and I was getting ready to plant it in my yards. They must have known, tore it up. It does have some new leaves coming out of the top here, you can see, and so it will come back, but boo, wah, that's alright. Nature has its way with making things grow and keeping things alive, and so I'm feeding the deer. Alright, well, thanks for joining me on this video, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Talk to you soon. Bye.